largest position. Next up is CoLife, which is a seed investment we made. Gary, how long? 6 months? Within a year. Come on up. Turn the slides. There's a clicker right here.
Great. Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me. Gary, Howard, Matt, Tom, this has been a blast. I've been super inspired and I've really enjoyed it. So I've always identified as a degenerate, but now I've learned that I'm part of the degenerate economy. So this weekend has certainly solidified that for me. So my name's Derek Snook. I am the founder of CoLife, and what we're doing, the most important thing is right in the beginning. So if you're going to pay attention to anything and then look at your phone afterwards, this is the part. We match renters. So your nurses, your teachers, your Uber drivers, your baristas, grad students, all the people that make cities and communities go around, we match them to, try this button, clicker, there we go. We match them to what is the most underutilized asset class in real estate, in our opinion, in the country, and that is owner-occupied homes. So on the demand side, I never have anybody argue with us. We're 6 million units short. There's 17 million renters nationwide that fit our criteria. They're single. They make on average $50,000 a year. Age demographics are even across the board with nationwide renters, but it's the supply side that makes this business magical and that really makes it explosive. And that is because there's currently 24 million people. They own their home. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. No matter how you cut it, they have an extra bedroom and an extra bath. And that number's growing by millions every single year. So these are not investors with second properties. These are not people that are looking to split their lease. They own their home and they live alone. And the reason it's growing is because everybody is single. Amy was trying to help Rachel and I last night navigate dating apps, and it's very difficult out there. We appreciate your help. Everybody's single. Then they're not having children. This is something I found fascinating. If you were a woman born in 1984, your chances of not having a child are 20%. If you're a woman born in 1989, it's 30%. Singleness and childlessness are both skyrocketing. So people want to buy homes. They're getting on the financial ladder, but then they're living alone. They're single, no kids. And then in addition to that, they want to age in place for as long as they possibly can. And so when you put all those things together, it's creating millions and millions more rooms of people just living alone. The crazy thing is, in spite of all that, housing stock is not adjusting at all. So last year, 90% of homes, they had 3 bedrooms. Half of those had 4 and 5. So it's kind of this crazy situation, but the good news is for us and for all of you as investors and for CoLife is that for the first time in history, we're matching not just the property, but also the person of taking all this massive demand and matching it to the supply. And we're making it really safe and easy. The last fun thing is that women are actually passing men in terms of homeownership rates for the first time in history. Most of us single men are true degenerates. We do not buy homes. We continue to roam freely. Women are far more likely to buy. And our platform skews towards women. About 70% of our homeowners are women. So since Social Leverage made the wise decision to invest about 10 months ago, along with Alpaca, who led our round, we're on pace to 6x the business. We have 1.4 million of rent that's going through the platform on an annual basis. We're growing 15 to 20% a month, and we're in 5 cities. Charleston, South Carolina, where I am from. I know, is it Yoshi can help you in Kyoto? I can help you in Charleston. Just hit me up. We're also in Greenville, South Carolina, and then our fastest growing is Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina, and then Nashville, Tennessee. And probably the thing that we're the most proud of is that we sit in the middle of the transaction. So this is where Social Leverage's expertise with fintech really comes into play, because the fintech opportunities for us long-term are quite massive. We send out a net promoter score 2 weeks after our renters move in. And for our homeowners over the last 5 to 6 months, it's been 100. And that makes a lot of sense because we're only getting paid when our homeowner's getting paid. And so we're very user-centric. We're passionate about solving this problem for them, and they love us so far. a little bit about me before I tell you a bit more about the business. So I grew up in the suburbs of Charleston, South Carolina. My entire life, I was taught to go to this school, get this job, buy this kind of house in this part of town, have these kind of kids. And I was on my mother's path for my life. For a while, I played D1 basketball at a great liberal arts school. And then I kind of took this surprising left turn, and I voluntarily moved into a homeless shelter. And I lived there for a year. We could talk about that for a while. But my biggest takeaway from that year really was that I came to believe, both as a human being and as an entrepreneur, that most of our biggest social problems, whether it is housing, whether it's mental health and loneliness, whether it's issues of elder care, I believe that they're really first and foremost issues of human trust and connection. And if you can solve for that, you can build some big businesses. That kind of became the thing that I became obsessed with. And I started my first company out of that experience. I grew it to 170 employees. But in the process of starting CoLife, I've probably lived with 15 different homeowners, owner-occupied homes. And so I know the magic sauce. I know how to make this work. And I'm very committed to this. And I know that we can scale this nationwide. So enough about me. This is Allie. Allie is one of our renters, and she is super stoked. She just found a great affordable place to live through CoLife. She's 25 years old. She is a teacher, and she wasn't always this happy because when she got this job in Charleston, she went online and she discovered that her housing options were pretty grim. So first batch of options are she could get her own place. She could get it through someone like Greystar. They have more housing units under management than anyone in the world. Several of their executives, including the founder's son, are actually investors in CoLife. But she doesn't have $2,500 a month. She is a teacher. She's got student debt. She's a little bit broke. That option is out. The next batch of options is she could get a roommate. There's a bunch of bad roommate sites out there. Believe it or not, the vast majority of people are still finding their roommates on places like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. It's scary. It's sketchy. It's not curated. It doesn't feel safe. And she can go through the whole process, get to the very end, have the person back out. That's really frustrating. So her best option is, you guessed it, CoLife. And with CoLife, she comes to our platform. She puts in all of her options into our sophisticated algorithm. She's not just going to choose her budget and location, but she's going to choose the age and the gender of the person. She can go into their philosophical beliefs, politics, which will be important here in a couple months, even religion. And she's going to meet her options for free after she does her background and credit check. She usually doesn't meet more than 3 before she's going to find someone to sign a lease with. And the results of signing that lease are staggering for her. It's a dramatically better experience than renters have had access to before now. Her rent's going to be 65 to 70% off. It's furnished, it's flexible, and the experience of living with the homeowner is better because if the toilet breaks, it is not a passive landlord that pushes it off for 2 weeks. It's a landlord that lives on the property. It's their most valuable asset. They immediately get involved, and it's a much better experience. Hello? Am I hearing myself talk back? Okay. I've been accused of being on the spectrum a little bit, and that's really messing with me. So, but it's all good. It's all good. I can overcome. I can overcome. I would appreciate you to I would expect you to test me with that, Evan. So thank you. All right. On the other end of the spectrum, no pun intended, this is Linda. And Linda is actually one of my best friends. She's an angel investor in CoLife. She's a homeowner. More than 50% of our homeowners are actually under the age of 45. So they're that 30-year-old. They are living alone. They don't have any kids. They work a demanding job. They may or may not be wanting to say it, but they're a little bit lonely. On the other side of it, you have Linda. They're doing it for the money, but for Linda, it's about aging in place. She wants someone there to help with the Amazon package and provide a little bit of a sense of security and peace of mind. Women renters always want to live with female homeowners. There's a fun wrinkle where younger male renters make great tenants for older female homeowners. The younger male will help with the firewood and that kind of stuff, and then the older woman makes an egg sandwich for them, and it's a great situation. So That was not supposed to be that funny. Did I miss something? Or say something I didn't mean to? All right. So we sit in the middle of the transaction and we are charging 14.99%. It's really powerful. We're doing a lot of great things for that. We do the background and the credit check. We guarantee the rent to the homeowner, and then we pay the homeowner on the first, and then on the flip side, we let the renter break up their payments into 2 and 4 payments. And not only does that make the product really sticky, but also we're charging a service charge for that increases our margins on those renters by 30%. The renters love that, and about 50% of them have opted into that. And that's just the beginning of the fintech opportunities. We have a team of housing attorneys that'll handle anything that goes wrong. And then perhaps most importantly, when you're renting a room inside your home, it's not covered by your homeowner's insurance. And so we have a Lloyd's of London policy that gives $1 million to the homeowner, $500,000 to the renter. It covers against both sides' belongings. We're hoping to close our seed round this week or next at the latest. I had a final pitch with someone today, and the follow-on investor that's really interested is big in the insurance space, and they're saying that we can even turn this into something that we're not paying for but getting a commission on. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there as well. We talked about fintech just a teeny bit. One other thing that I would add to that is I think that we have an opportunity, and this is a ways off, Gary, but even to unlock kind of a new vertical of homeowners, because we have renters that come in, they want to buy homes, and then they are not currently getting credit when they're going to purchase a home on their mortgage of the fact that they're also willing to rent rooms inside their home. So we see renters coming in and doing that already. They start out as renters, and then they buy homes, and then they actually rent those homes through CoLife. So there's a lot of opportunity there. But just sticking inside with the core business, right now our payback period is about 3 to 4 months. We're spending about $500 to get our first lease, and then we're getting back a little over $1,500 in the course of that year. And so the unit economics are really strong. AI is also a big part of what we're doing. There's kind of 3 core areas. The first thing is that we are taking all this content of people that are signing up, and then we are brushing it up with AI. We're making the photos much better, which is really important in real estate. And then we're putting it back on the Facebook Marketplace, and we're just competing against your average Joe, and we're getting a lot more users signing up at lower costs. We do have customer success reps that kind of sit in the middle, and we're using AI to make them 2 or 3x more productive over the next 12 to 18 months. And then another big thing is that because we know who's actually signing leases and we have all that data, we're learning every time a lease gets signed, which creates a defensive moat. And we're able to take those users that we know make the best leases, and then we can serve more of them up to each other. So we've been on fire to this point. We're currently in 5 cities. We're planning to close our seed round this week or next, and then we wanted to expand to 44. Our go-to-market strategy is really sound. When I was pitching Alpaca, they said, if anything, it sounded too good to be true. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. We have some great Google Ads guys that came to us from Belong. They're backed by Andreessen Horowitz. And for about $50 each, they feel really strongly they can go into any of the top 200 markets in the country and acquire 25 homeowners. We send out a pro photographer, get those photos, put them through AI, put them back on Facebook Marketplace with a low-cost team from India, and then we get our 50 renters, and we can do that all for about $5,000 to $6,000 or less in 2 weeks, and that's kind of the point that we need for liquidity. And then at this point, we're raising, and we're expecting to close our round this week or next. So thank you for everybody's support. Super stoked to be here, and yeah, that's what I got.
Any question? Yes, Jay.
It's obviously what? Yeah. We started out with prices at 9.99%, and kind of the consistent thing that I've heard is that you can usually have a higher take rate than you think you can. And so we made it 14.99% over the last 6 weeks, and we started rolling it out in a couple of our markets, and there hasn't been any pushback so far. So we kind of plan to keep that. we're in the Southeast largely. The average room is like $900 to $1,000 a month. And we're not in cities yet where there's huge fluctuations in that. So I would say that that's probably something that as we learn, we can certainly adjust our pricing in different cities. But so far, so good with the 14.99%. And then to your first question, that does come up. Certainly as we enter into blue states, we kind of just commissioned our housing attorney team to look at that, and they're preparing a report that they got back to us. The one thing that I know is that when you're renting a room inside your home, like the Supreme Court, they said in 2012 that this is the use case they use, a 70-year-old Jewish woman should not be forced to live with a 30-year-old male if she's uncomfortable or if he's violating her dietary restrictions. When it's inside your own home, it's like a whole different ball game that the courts move really, really quick to get people out, because it's not like an investor property that's across the street. It's like someone that's in your own personal space. So it will probably vary a little bit state by state, but the court will always move faster. And that's part of why people use this too, because they want to rent a room inside their home, but they want that protection there to make sure that they're being taken care of. And so for us, safety and trust is really important.
One more, Mike. Oh, Lanny, then Mike.
Oh, I want a woman 10 years younger than my wife. I would like a 70-year-old.
Howard actually warned me that you might ask a question like that before I got up here, and he said to not give you an answer.
Meet Ellen.
But he said that if I find someone, yeah, okay.
Meet my wife Ellen. She has money. She's looking for a nice house.
Anybody else?
Look at
I want to be respectful of time. Yes, sir.
When you open up all these markets, for lack of a better expression, are these company-owned markets, or are you franchising each market or selling the rights?
They're company owned, but I think that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, that was interesting. Mikey. All right, Rachel. One more question, because you're.
Hello, Rachel. Or would it be some other what?
Would it always be like on your renting for, or
So there's some companies out there. One of our last angel investors, like Pad Split Bungalow, they take these homes and they're investors' properties and they split them up to as many rooms as they can. And I don't like that model because you're basically a glorified property manager. And I attended like 10 minutes of the handyman general contractor session, and I was like, I could never ever do this in my entire life. So what's beautiful about our model is that it's a P2P marketplace, so all these homeowners manage their homes, so it just makes us really scalable to get across the country fast in a way that would slow us down if we actually own the property.
Great job.
Thank
you. So Gary inside our firm led I guess called the pre-seed. Yeah, really moving fast.